The human delegation floated silently within the neutral asteroid field, their vessels dwarfed by the geometric elegance of the Valari constructs. The ships pulsed with light in rhythmic sequences, precise and mesmerizing, yet devoid of aggression. Every human aboard felt the weight of the moment. They were the first species to encounter intelligent life in the galaxy, and the responsibility of that first impression was absolute. Dr. Amina Rao watched carefully, sensing the tension and curiosity vibrating through her team. Humans initiated contact through music, sending vibrations through adaptive holograms that translated melody into visual patterns and energy pulses. The Valari responded with their own sequences, intricate and deliberate, which humans gradually began to interpret as recognition and engagement. It was a dialogue without words, a meeting of minds through rhythm, pattern, and intention. At first, the exchanges were cautious, each side testing the other, probing for meaning, assessing intent. Then, a human musician introduced improvisation. Notes and harmonies shifted unpredictably, flowing and bending in ways a Valari could not calculate. The alien energy pulses hesitated, then adapted, responding in kind, their sequences bending and stretching to follow the unfamiliar cadence. For the first time, humans saw what could only be described as curiosity, a recognition that the unpredictable creativity of humanity demanded attention, adaptation, and respect. Next came visual storytelling. Holograms projected Earth's landscapes, cities, oceans, and forests, while snippets of human life. Children laughing, communities building, explorers venturing into the unknown, played in looping sequences. The Valari scanned, patterns of energy rippling as they absorbed, analyzed, and responded. Some sequences suggested wonder, others caution. Humans responded in turn, blending their own gestures and visual cues with music, forming a layered, multi-sensory dialogue that neither species had encountered before. Meals became a new frontier of communication. The delegation shared samples of human food, textures, flavors, and aromas previously unimaginable to the Valari. Initially, the aliens were hesitant, interacting with the offerings through sensors and manipulators rather than consumption. Yet over time, some began to replicate the preparation and presentation. Taste, humans realized, could be a language in itself, conveying culture, emotion, and shared experience. The first true cultural bridge had been built not through dominance or technology, but through curiosity and participation. Games and cooperative challenges followed. Humans and Valari worked together to construct floating structures in zero gravity, solve puzzles that required intuition as well as logic, and navigate simulations demanding improvisation and negotiation. Failure was frequent and frustration inevitable, yet the process forged a new understanding. Humanity's strength lay not only in survival, science, or technology, but in creativity, adaptability, and a willingness to explore the unknown alongside another intelligence. By the end of the initial exchange, subtle but unmistakable changes appeared in the Valari patterns. Energy sequences became less rigid. Pulses varied in response to human improvisation, and new patterns emerged that seemed intended to communicate more than raw data. Humanity had not only been recognized, they had been understood in a way that transcended technology or force. Curiosity had been sparked, and with it, the possibility of trust, cooperation, and genuine interstellar friendship. In the quiet moments, floating among the stars, humans observed the alien vessels shimmer against the void. The realization dawned collectively. They were not just observers. They were participants in a first encounter that could define the destiny of both species. In a galaxy of uncertainty, humans had proven that ingenuity, creativity, and the human spirit could achieve what brute force never could. And for the first time, the Valari seemed not merely aware of humanity, but fascinated by it, opening a door to possibilities that stretched far beyond imagination. Weeks passed, and the dialogue between humans and the Valari deepened in ways both astonishing and unpredictable. What had begun as careful observation and measured responses evolved into intricate exchanges of creativity, problem-solving, and symbolic communication. Humans discovered that the Valari's perception of time, space, and logic was entirely different. They processed sequences in parallel, interpreted patterns and dimensions humans could barely conceptualize, and responded with a deliberateness that was at once intimidating and awe-inspiring. To bridge this gap, humans leaned into what made them unique: intuition, improvisation, and emotional nuance. Dr. Amina Rao and her team introduced dynamic simulations that required both species to cooperate in real time. Humans guided the Valari through improvisational problem-solving exercises, from constructing modular habitats in zero gravity to orchestrating sequences of music and light that conveyed abstract concepts like joy, curiosity, and wonder. Each success strengthened mutual understanding, while each failure prompted careful recalibration. One pivotal moment occurred when the Valari attempted a simulation alone, constructing a structure using precise, methodical sequences. The result, though technically flawless, lacked balance and adaptability, collapsing under simulated environmental stress. Humans intervened, suggesting adjustments not through command but through shared patterns, intuition, and improvisation. The Valari adapted hesitantly at first, then with increasing fluidity, producing solutions that combined their precision with human creativity. The delegation realized that humanity's ingenuity was not merely practical. It was transformative. Cultural exchanges accelerated in parallel. Humans introduced art, music, and storytelling as forms of dialogue rather than decoration. Holographic narratives depicted human experiences, exploration, struggle, joy, and loss, while the Valari responded with energy patterns that conveyed emotion and context, sometimes creating entirely new sequences that humans could interpret only partially. These interactions became lessons in empathy, teaching the Valari about unpredictability, risk-taking, and the power of shared experience. Food and sensory exchange continued as a surprisingly effective bridge. Humans presented flavors, textures, and aromas designed to provoke curiosity and delight. The Valari, lacking taste as humans understood it, engaged through multisensory translation, energy pulses that mimic flavor profiles and chemical cues. Slowly, the aliens began producing their own multisensory creations, some designed to challenge humans' perceptions. Shared meals and sensory experiments became moments of camaraderie, a subtle but profound form of trust-building that transcended language or logic. Tension remained, however. Not all Valari were convinced of humanity's intentions. Conservative factions, distant from the asteroid station, observed with suspicion, questioning why humans had been allowed proximity and influence. Some even attempted to manipulate communications, sending altered signals to provoke misinterpretation. Humanity's response was steadfast transparency, using redundancy, cultural symbols, and adaptive communication to demonstrate honesty and intent. Each challenge strengthened the bonds with those Valari willing to engage openly, highlighting humans' resilience and ability to navigate uncertainty. A breakthrough arrived when Krelix, a young Valari who had first shown curiosity, initiated a novel experiment, a joint performance combining human music, alien energy patterns, and adaptive holographic storytelling. The result was breathtaking, a living, evolving creation neither species could produce alone, blending logic, emotion, and unpredictability into a unified expression. Observers, human and alien alike, were captivated. It became clear that collaboration, creativity, and shared understanding could achieve outcomes far beyond the capabilities of either species individually. By the end of this cycle, the Valari demonstrated subtle but unmistakable transformation. Their patterns showed variation, innovation, and even playfulness, concepts previously foreign to their society. Humans had not only made contact, they had inspired curiosity, adaptability, and emotional engagement, turning caution into active participation. Humanity's first mover advantage, combined with ingenuity and culture, had not only ensured survival, it had forged a foundation of interstellar partnership and trust. Months passed, and the fragile trust between humans and the Valari was tested in ways no one could have predicted. A distant Xeran-like faction, observing from beyond the neutral zone, misinterpreted the ongoing cultural exchanges as a threat, a display of human influence over an advanced alien species. Tensions escalated, fleets mobilized, and for the first time, humanity faced the possibility that first contact could spark a wider interstellar crisis. Dr. Amina Rao convened a council aboard the asteroid station. Humans and Valari representatives worked side by side to analyze the situation, seeking a solution that relied not on force, but on understanding. The Valari, impressed by humanity's ingenuity and emotional insight, suggested a demonstration, a live display of collaboration, creativity, and diplomacy that could be broadcast to the observing factions. The humans agreed, knowing that their survival and the future of interstellar peace depended on ingenuity rather than intimidation. The demonstration was extraordinary. Humans and Valari constructed a massive zero-gravity structure, combining advanced alien engineering with human improvisation and artistry. Music, holographic storytelling, and energy sequences intertwined, forming a dynamic spectacle of cooperation and mutual respect. Every element was designed to communicate intent, unity, and creativity. The observing fleet watched in silence, scanning, analyzing, and for the first time questioning their assumptions about humanity. When the demonstration concluded, the distant fleet hesitated. Their own data confirmed what they had long doubted. Humans were not merely reactive, nor were they purely logical. They were capable of inspiring, adapting, and connecting across species. The human delegation transmitted a final message of peace and collaboration, emphasizing shared curiosity and potential rather than dominance or threat. Slowly, the fleets began to disengage, reducing weapons readiness and initiating cautious dialogue. The event marked a turning point. Humanity's creativity and cultural diplomacy had prevented a potential interstellar conflict, proving that intelligence and ingenuity could triumph where technology and force alone might have failed. The Valari, once distant and inscrutable, now actively sought human counsel and collaboration. Shared project expanded. Terraforming simulations, cooperative exploration missions, and interspecies educational programs flourished across neutral zones. Even among skeptics, respect grew. Alien societies noted the effectiveness of humanity's approach. Unpredictable yet principled, empathetic yet strategic. Humans had demonstrated that first contact did not have to be a prelude to conquest or subjugation. Instead, it could be a bridge, built from creativity, ingenuity, and the courage to connect. For Dr. Rao and the human delegation, the moment was both historic and humbling. They had not only discovered alien life first, they had shaped the terms of engagement, influencing an advanced species through the uniquely human combination of curiosity, culture, and intellect. Humanity had proven once again that their strength lay not solely in technology, but in their spirit, the ability to inspire, adapt, and forge connections where others saw only barriers. The galaxy, it seemed, had taken notice. Humanity's first contact became a model of diplomacy, creativity, and interstellar ingenuity. And for the first time, humans understood the full weight and wonder of being the first to reach across the stars, not with weapons, but with imagination, courage, and culture. Years passed, and the asteroid station became a permanent symbol of interstellar collaboration. What had begun as tentative exchanges of signals, music, and holographic storytelling evolved into fully integrated programs that bridged species in ways no one had imagined. Humans and Valari lived, worked, and learned side by side, creating a unique culture that drew upon the strengths of both civilizations. Humans had not only survived first contact, they had shaped its course. The Valari, once cautious and inscrutable, had begun to display a remarkable transformation. Their energy sequences, previously precise and predictable, now incorporated irregularities, flourishes, and improvisation. They experimented with forms of expression that had no utility in their rigid societies but reflected creativity, intuition, and emotion. Music, storytelling, and visual art became central to Valari daily life, with humans guiding, participating, and learning alongside them. The asteroid station echoed with the unfamiliar harmonics of alien instruments blended with human melodies, producing sounds that were simultaneously alien and resonant with emotion. Education was the heart of this transformation. Human instructors taught concepts of empathy, improvisation, and symbolic communication, while Valari students challenged humans to perceive time, space, and logic in entirely new dimensions. Children from both species played together in zero-gravity learning modules, constructing intricate structures, solving complex puzzles, and interpreting narratives that transcended language. The boundaries that had once defined human and alien blurred, replaced by curiosity, collaboration, and shared purpose. Diplomatic impact extended beyond the asteroid station. Other alien civilizations, previously skeptical or even hostile toward humanity, began seeking guidance. The human method of first contact, rooted not in weapons, not in dominance, but in creativity, intuition, and cultural exchange, became a model for interstellar engagement. Humanity had demonstrated that influence could be wielded through ingenuity, inspiration, and empathy rather than firepower, setting a precedent that would echo for generations. Even within Valari society, the change was profound. Conservative factions, initially resistant to human influence, slowly adopted new practices. Young Valari who had witnessed humans' improvisation and cultural depth returned to their homeworlds, bringing stories, techniques, and ideas that challenged rigid hierarchies. Military units, previously devoted solely to discipline and strategy, experimented with flexible tactics and creative problem-solving. Architects blended angular precision with flowing organic forms, inspired by human designs. Scientists incorporated intuitive leaps and unconventional experimentation into research programs. The Valari had learned to value unpredictability, creativity, and the human capacity for ingenuity. A pivotal moment arrived when a joint expedition was launched to explore a distant star system. Humans and Valari collaborated to design the mission, integrating Valari precision with human adaptability. Unexpected anomalies emerged: gravitational fluctuations, energy distortions, and unfamiliar cosmic phenomena. Where Valari alone might have retreated, humans improvised solutions in real time, devising new protocols, repurposing equipment, and employing lateral thinking to navigate the challenges. The Valari, observing and participating, recognized the power of human intuition and ingenuity. Together, they succeeded, not merely surviving the hazards of deep space, but charting new pathways for future exploration. Cultural projects continued in parallel. Human artists and musicians worked with Valari counterparts to create living installations, structures and performances that responded to environmental stimuli, audience engagement, and evolving narratives. These collaborations were more than art. They were experiments in understanding cognition, perception, and emotional resonance across species. Each successful project reinforced the principle that humanity's strength was not in imposing control, but in sparking curiosity, fostering creativity, and building trust. The transformation reached its apex when a Valari council proposed a festival celebrating the collaboration between species, a grand, galaxy-wide event broadcast in neutral and observing civilizations. Humans and Valari performed together, creating sequences of music, light, and holography that narrated the history of their shared experiences. The first signals, the cautious probes, the improvisation exercises, the meals and sensory experiments, and the joint problem-solving that had averted potential conflict. Observers from multiple star systems watched as two vastly different species demonstrated cooperation, innovation, and mutual respect. The event became a cultural milestone, proving that diplomacy grounded in creativity and empathy could achieve what fleets and weapons could not. Even skeptics within the Valari hierarchy acknowledged the transformation. Senior officials, who had once doubted human intentions, observed the festival with measured admiration. They noted the practical benefits of collaboration, technological insights, environmental adaptation, and strategic flexibility, but also recognized something deeper. Humanity's influence had reshaped the very way the Valari perceive intelligence, creativity, and societal growth. The concept of strength expanded to include not just power or precision, but imagination, ingenuity, and the ability to inspire. Humanity's impact extended far beyond the Valari. The asteroid station became a hub for interstellar knowledge exchange, attracting species from distant systems. Humans introduced practices that emphasize collaboration over competition, creativity over rigidity, and empathy over intimidation. Each visitor witnessed the effectiveness of human ingenuity, the transformative potential of cultural engagement, and the subtle, enduring power of inspiration. The galaxy slowly began to recognize a new kind of leadership, one defined not by conquest, but by the capacity to influence, connect, and innovate. On a personal level, Dr. Rao and her team observed the evolution with quiet satisfaction. They had begun as explorers and scientists, unsure whether humanity's first contact would succeed or fail. Now, they witnessed the tangible outcomes. Young Valari improvising human musical forms, scientists blending alien logic with intuitive leaps, diplomats applying principles learned from human cultural engagement to their own societies. Humans had not only survived first contact, they had shaped the course of alien civilization, proving that curiosity, creativity, and empathy were as formidable as any weapon. Yet the story of transformation was not complete. The Valari, now deeply influenced by human culture, began contributing their own innovations back to humanity. Their precise energy manipulation techniques enhanced human engineering, while their multidimensional perception improved human understanding of space-time anomalies. The collaboration became a feedback loop. Humans inspired Valari creativity, Valari enhanced human capability, and together they forged advances neither could achieve alone. This dynamic exemplified the HFY principle. Humanity's strength lay in initiating change, inspiring growth, and adapting beyond expectation, reshaping the galaxy through intellect, culture, and ingenuity rather than brute force. Over decades, the asteroid station became a symbol of hope and possibility. Holographic archives chronicled the journey, the first discovery of alien life, the initial uncertainty, the improvisation that sparked understanding, the collaborative projects that built trust, and the festivals that celebrated shared culture. Generations of humans and Valari grew up learning side by side, their societies intertwined by mutual respect and shared experiences. Where once the galaxy feared the unknown, now it marveled at what humanity had achieved. The ability to turn first contact into a lasting partnership. In quiet moments, humans reflected on the significance of their achievement. The galaxy could have responded with hostility, fear, or indifference. Yet humanity's approach, grounded in creativity, empathy, and ingenuity, had ensured not only survival, but influence. The Valari had been transformed, neighboring civilizations inspired, and the principles of cooperation, curiosity, and cultural engagement had been established as powerful tools in interstellar diplomacy. Humanity had proved, beyond question, that their species could lead, innovate, and inspire even when faced with a vast unknown. The ultimate testament came from the Valari themselves. In one of the asteroid station's central halls, an enormous holographic display depicted a human figure standing among Valari silhouettes. Surrounding them were sequences of energy, music, and visual art, representing the shared journey, the exchange of knowledge, and the bonds of trust. A caption in Valari symbolism read, "The species that taught us to imagine beyond certainty." Humanity had become a mirror, reflecting potential, creativity, and curiosity back to an alien civilization, and, in doing so, had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of intelligence, cooperation, and leadership. And so, in a universe once vast, cold, and uncertain, humans had proven that first contact was not merely a test of technology or strategy, but a test of spirit. Their strength lay not in firepower or dominance, but in curiosity, ingenuity, empathy, and the willingness to connect across incomprehensible divides. By embracing these qualities, humanity had not only survived, but had inspired transformation, creating a galaxy in which creativity, culture, and collaboration could thrive. The story of first contact ended not with conquest, but with inspiration. The Valari were no longer merely observers. They were partners, learners, and creators. The galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary, a species that reached across the stars and, through intellect, culture, and courage, proved that the essence of humanity was its ability to transform not just its own destiny, but the destiny of others. And in that achievement lay the ultimate HFY truth. Humans were not merely survivors in the cosmos. They were pioneers, innovators, and catalysts of change, capable of shaping the universe itself through imagination, spirit, and heart.